Hello and welcome. I am Windsor Lindor, executive life coach, business consultant, and founder of Windsor Lindor Consulting. My work lives at the intersection of emotional intelligence, self leadership, executive coaching, strategic clarity, organizational alignment, and transformational change. Through the culture of success approach, I support executives, founders, professionals, organizations, couples, and purpose-driven individuals, and strengthening the inner architecture required to create results that matter. Today, I want to speak with you about one discipline that sits beneath leadership clarity: meaningful action, adaptive execution, and sustainable success. That discipline is inner alignment. Inner alignment is the intelligent ordering of thought, emotion, identity, value, and action. It is the inner condition that allows a person to lead with steadiness under pressure, communicate with dignity during complexity, make decisions from clarity rather than fear, and build a life that reflects purpose rather than reaction. So, I want to begin with one premium question. What is the quality of the internal environment from which you are leading? That question is not inspirational decoration. It is structural intelligence. Because the inner environment of a leader eventually becomes visible in tone, timing, decisions, relationships, strategy, systems, and results. A fragmented inner life produces fragmented execution. A reactive life produces reactive communication. A fear-governed inner life produces control. A coherent inner life produces steadiness. A disciplined inner life produces clarity. A reverent inner life produces leadership that can be trusted. And this is where excellence begins. Not an performance alone, not an image, not an temporary wins. Excellence begins in the architecture of the self. It begins in how we think, how we listen, how we interpret pressure, how we carry responsibility, how we refine ambition, how we respond when the room becomes uncertain, how we choose to become functional, emotionally intelligent human beings who can create, lead, love, build, and serve without becoming fragmented by the very lives we are trying to grow. See, this brings us to the leadership tension. Many leaders and purpose-driven individuals are carrying more pressure than they are processing. They are navigating business demands, relational strain, executive responsibility, personal transition, organizational growth, and the quiet weight of becoming someone capable of carrying more. Externally, they may appear productive. Internally, they may be divided. They may be moving quickly while clarity is thinning. They may be serving others while their own nervous system is asking for attention. They may be making decisions while emotional fatigue shapes interpretation. They may be leading teams, families, organizations, or clients while privately asking, where is my center? Where is my next level of clarity? What am I carrying that needs to be named? What part of my leadership is asking for greater coherence? This is why emotional intelligence is not soft. It is the discipline that helps a leader remain clear without becoming rigid, steady without becoming passive, responsive without becoming reactive, and decisive without becoming emotionally disconnected. At a certain level, leadership is no longer tested only by capability, it is tested by integration. Now, can you remain aligned when pressure rises? Can you tell the truth internally before the truth becomes conflict externally? Can you act with maturity when emotion is strong? Can you sustain performance without abandoning presence? Can you carry ambition without being consumed by urgency? Can you hold the responsibility without losing reverence for the human beings affected by your decisions? These are not abstract questions. They are leadership questions. They are life development questions. They are the questions that separate temporary output from sustainable success. And they lead us into the core teaching. For here is the central insight for today. Leadership that endures is built from the inside out. The way we build within ourselves determines the way we build around ourselves. The inner world is never without consequence. It's always in conversation with our future. What we carry in thought, emotion, identity, and intention begins to shape the atmosphere of our life. It influences the rooms we enter, the conversation we lead, the decisions we repeat, the standards we normalize, and the relationships we strengthen or strain. This is the architecture. Identity shapes interpretation. Interpretation shapes emotion. Emotion shapes behavior. Behavior shapes results. Results reinforce identity. This cycle is always active. So the leader who wants better outcomes must examine more than outcomes. The leader must examine the architecture producing them. This is where inner leadership and self-governance become essential. Before a leader can govern complexity, a leader must learn to govern the self. Self-governance is not suppression. It is not denial. It is not a polished performance of strength. Self-governance is the disciplined ability to notice what is moving within you before it becomes the force moving through your decisions. For it asks, what am I carrying? What am I reacting to? What am I protecting? What am I avoiding? What truth is asking for my attention? What standard is my next level of leadership requiring from me? See, these questions create responsibility without shame. They return the leader to reality. And reality is the ground from which aligned action becomes possible. Humility belongs here. Humility is the strength to see clearly. It allows a person to say, this is where I am. This is what I have been carrying. This is what I have outgrown. This is what must now be refined. There is dignity and honest self-recognition. Here's the moment we stop resisting truth. Life begins to teach us differently. And when humility meets self-governance, leadership becomes more honest. Communication becomes more precise. Presence becomes more trustworthy. Execution becomes more focused. Relationships become less reactive. Systems become more intelligent. This is how inner alignment becomes excellence in action. And not through intensity alone, through coherence, through disciplined awareness, through emotional integration, through values that govern behavior under pressure. That is leadership maturity. That is inner architecture. Now let's take a look at the practical application where stillness drives discernment. Discernment drives alignment. Alignment drives embodied action. So now let us bring this into a practical leadership framework. You see, inner alignment must become a repeatable discipline. The framework will look like that, where the stillness drives discernment. Discernment drives alignment. And alignment drives embodied action. Now, let's take first stillness. Stillness interrupts reactivity. It creates enough internal space for the leader to observe rather than discharge pressure into the room. Stillness does not mean inaction. It means the nervous system, the mind, and the will are given enough order to respond with intelligence. A leader who cannot access stillness often becomes governed by urgency. A leader who practices stillness creates room for wisdom to enter the decision. Now let's look at discernment. Discernment is the ability to see with emotional and strategic clarity. Discernment asks, what is true here? What is assumed? What is emotional residue? What is the actual decision? What is the deeper pattern? What does the system need? What does this relationship require? What does my next level of leadership demand? Discernment. It helps us separate fact from fear, signal from noise, urgency from importance, and emotional reaction from responsible action. This is where emotional intelligence becomes practical. It strengthens interpretation. It protects decision quality. It allows the leader to move with greater precision. The next is alignment. Alignment. It asks a higher order question. What response reflects my values? What action honors the standard I say I believe in? What choice strengthens trust, clarity, dignity, and meaningful results? Alignment. It is where identity becomes leadership. Because a person's values are not proven in comfort. They are proven under pressure. They are proven in difficult conversations. They are proven in delayed decisions. They are proven when ego wants control and wisdom asks for maturity. They are proven when ambition must be refined into stewardships. Next, embodied action. It gives form to insight. A meaningful life is created through conscious participation. A meaningful leadership experience is practiced, built, and embodied. It is not enough to desire clarity. We must practice clarity. It's not enough to value emotional intelligence. We must use emotional intelligence when emotion is strong. It's not enough to speak about purpose. We must allow purpose to shape decisions, priorities, communication, and systems. This is where leadership becomes creative in the structural sense. A leader creates culture. A leader creates standards. A leader creates emotional climate. A leader creates decision rhythm. A leader creates trust conditions. A leader creates meaning through the quality of presence and action brought into the system. So the question becomes, what is your leadership currently teaching the system? Your tone teaches the system. Your silence teaches the system. Your follow-through teaches the system. Your clarity teaches the system. Your avoidance teaches the system. Your courage teaches the system. Your consistency teaches the system. That question restores authorship. It moves the leader from reaction into design. A design is where excellence begins to take form. Now, I want to invite you into a reflective pause, not as a retreat from action, as preparation for higher quality action. Go ahead, take a breath. Allow the question to meet you with honesty. First, reflection question. Where does your inner life need more order before your outer life can move forward with greater clarity? This question invites you beneath the surface. Sometimes the next level of success is not found in doing more. Sometimes it begins by bringing order to what has remained unexamined. The pressure, the fear, the resentment, the delayed decision, the unfinished conversation, the pattern that keeps repeating, the truth you have known quietly. Awareness creates room for renewal. Now, the next reflection question. What pressure are you currently carrying that needs to be processed with greater emotional intelligence? Pressure does not have to become fragmentation. Pressure can become information. It can reveal what needs support, structure, regulation, communication, or maturity. When pressure is processed with intelligence, it stops governing the leader and begins informing the leader. And that is different quality of power. The next reflection question is, what is one aligned action you can take this week that will bring your leadership, relationship, business, or life into greater coherence? This question brings insight into movement because clarity matures through action, not frantic action, not performance action, aligned action. The kind of action that reflects the person you are becoming. The kind of action that strengthens trust. The kind of action that brings value into form. The kind of action that creates results that matter. This is the discipline of inner alignment. It is the work of becoming more conscious, more responsible, more emotionally integrated, and more capable of carrying the life and leadership you are here to create. If you are navigating a season of leadership pressure, personal transition, executive responsibility, business growth, relational complexity, organizational change, or inner awakening, this work begins within. And it becomes visible everywhere. It becomes how you communicate, how you decide, how you listen, how you lead, how you love, how you build, how you create results that matter. At Windsor Lindor Consulting, I support executives, founders, professionals, organizations, couples, entrepreneurs, and purpose-driven individuals in strengthening emotional intelligence, self-leadership, inner coherence, adaptive execution, strategic alignment, and sustainable success. Through executive and life coaching, transformational leadership coaching, and strategic consulting, the work is designed to help you refine identity, strengthen leadership, clarity systems, deepen emotional intelligence, and move with aligned action. This theme also connects to my upcoming lecture, The Architecture of Purpose, Identity, Discipline, and the Inner Design of the Leader You Are Becoming. It is a free lecture, and it's happening May 10th, 2026. To learn more, visit lindorconsulting.com. Explore the work, learn more about Windsor Lindor Consulting. Go ahead, schedule a conversation with me at no obligation. Why? Because meaningful success is not built by performance alone. It's built to inner order, emotional mastery, disciplined responsibility, strategic alignment, and the courage to become the person capable of carrying the next level of your life in leadership. I am Windsor Lindor. Thank you for joining me for this Culture of Success edition. Lead with clarity, move with emotional intelligence, create results that matter. Be well.